Hey everybody, Andrew with Go Green Composting here. This is my worm factory worm bin, and you can see those little plastic bins I put the legs in. I did that because with the cold weather the worms haven't been as active feeding, and I've been getting a problem with ants getting into the bin. In fact, we might see some if I take the top part of the worm bin off. Let's see, yep, there are some of those little ants. But that's not too bad. I was really getting a bad infestation of them, so I cleaned them all out and put the worm bin back together, but the next day they were back. So I put those little bins with soapy water, act as sort of a moat to keep the ants out of the worm bin, and so far it's been effective. Haven't had an infestation of ants, so that at least has solved part of the problem. But the other problem is here in North Florida, we've been having weather at night down into the low 40s, and the worms really don't seem to like it too much. You can even see a couple of them are in the soapy water, like they were burrowing down trying to get out of the cold, and they wound up crawling out of the bin. So I've got to come up with a solution to try to keep the worms a little bit warmer, and that's tough. Here on the north side of my house, I've got some protection from rain with this overhang, and I don't like the worms being directly in the rain, but I have an idea for a solution, and I'm going to go ahead and set that up now, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm moving the worm bin to a warmer location, and I just moved the bin, but you can see these soapy water dishes do have some ants that have tried to cross and get into the bin, and they got trapped in the soapy water. And the reason I add soap is because it reduces the surface tension of the water, so when the ants try to walk across the water, they just sink and drown. See, there's another one of those big ants, a couple other bugs too, but there are still some worms too. And like I said, I think that's because the bin is too cold and they're trying to burrow down for warmth, and they're ending up crawling out of the bin. So got the ant problem at least partially solved, but got to try to get that bin warmed up. Alright, so this is what I did to try to warm the worm bin up a little bit. I had this little greenhouse that I was using earlier in the year to start some plants, but right now I'm not using it for anything. So luckily it's just the right size to accommodate the worm bin. I just took out one of the shelves in the greenhouse so I could fit the bin in there, moved that slab and the little dishes of soapy water in there, and this is getting a lot more sun exposure than the north side of my house. This has a nice southern exposure, some dappled sunlight. There are some trees here in the yard that are kind of blocking things a little bit, but it should be a lot warmer here for the worms. They should be able to at least warm up during the day, so they'll be able to eat more of the food. That should keep the pests like the ants down to a minimum. Still keeping the little soap moats in place, so that should help too. And I don't know if it'll keep it warm at night. I guess the greenhouse will insulate it a little bit, but it's still probably going to be a little chilly at night. But at least during the day they'll be able to warm up and get a little more active and eat some more food. And the greenhouse also will protect them against rain. That was my main concern about moving them away from the house. So they actually will probably be a little bit more protected from rain here. So all around a good solution. Now this probably wouldn't work if I lived further north. Here in North Florida it's rare to get freezing temperatures, maybe only 1 or 2 nights a year. So in that case I can just move them into the shed or even the house if my wife will let me. But for these temperatures that we're getting, low 40s, high 30s, hopefully this will provide adequate protection for the worms, and also during the day heat them up quick and get them a little more active. And they also get a nice neighbor, my rooster Patriot here, so the worms get to hang out with Patriot. But anyway, yeah, I'll keep you updated and see if this works. Just one way to keep your worms nice and warm throughout the winter, keep them happy and keep them eating compost. Anyway, thanks for watching everybody, and happy composting.